Hi, good morning. My name is Xavier Clone. I'm a redevelopment manager with the Fort Myers Community Redevelopment Agency, and I would like to take just a few minutes of your time to explain our Commercial Property Improvement Matching Grant Program. It is a program that we've had for around 10 years, and we are trying to make sure that you know how to get through the process from beginning to end and what it will look like, as well as giving you contact information to start the process at the end. Now, I would like to begin with what is the Fort Myers Community Redevelopment Agency? If left under-resourced, parts of our city risk remaining overlooked, affecting community spirit and slowing economic growth. This lack of redevelopment doesn't just impact current residents, it also discourages potential new businesses and families from making our city home. Imagine a city where every neighborhood is a beacon of growth and community spirit, a place where residents enjoy sustainable, thriving spaces, and businesses benefit from a vibrant economic environment. That is the future we're creating here at the Fort Myers CRA. Now, we consist of redevelopment areas in our agency. The ones that I will be encapsulating today are the three that have this program at the time of this recording, and those are the downtown area, the Cleveland Avenue area, as well as the Dr. MLK Veronica Shoemaker corridor. So we have had a facade program or commercial property improvement matching grant program since 2010. As we look at how this year goes, do note that the application is open until January 17th, 2025, and it opened on November 1st, so it already opened by the time of this recording. That's a picture of one of our more recent recipients, the Bruno's of Brooklyn location in downtown Fort Myers, where they restored a building and got a Tier 2 grant of around $200,000 to do so. The first step with our program is to ensure that you are eligible. Now, when we talk about eligibility, we make sure that you are located within one of our redevelopment areas that have funding for this program, and that you ensure that your proposed improvements align with our agency's strategic objectives. Of course, we have that all in writing, what we mean by that, and we'll talk about it later when we talk about our guide as well as the application process. Some other things to note is ownership. You either have to be the property owner, or if you're a tenant, have a 5-year lease. There will be written permission required from the property owner, and like I said, we will talk about that in the guide as well as the application process. We have an owner affidavit that we would have you sign. Also with location is the next step, making sure that we give preference to properties located against major arterial roads, which will be in our grading rubric, which I'll discuss when I talk about the guide and application, as well as the type of business. We give preference to retail and mixed use. Non-conforming uses are not eligible, but please note, talk to us. We'll make sure to ensure what non-conforming and what is conforming. Also, code enforcement is the next one, where we want you to verify that you have no active code enforcement actions against your property, and that all of the things that you're applying to do align with the city's land development regulations for site development, and making sure that when you go through this process and start doing these improvements, that they will be able to receive permits and go through the full permitting process, because we will need a final permit before we can give reimbursement. Next is property taxes. We want to make sure that both your city and county property taxes are current. And please note that any incomplete application packets will not be considered. So now that we've determined eligibility, the next step is that we would meet with you to see what you're trying to do. We call this a site visit. Normally doesn't take longer than 30 minutes. One of our staff members goes out with a camera. We take photos of the area just before reference photos, and just discuss with you what the full scope of improvements you're trying to achieve. The big thing is I bring a paper copy of the guide with me and reference guide with me to give to you. And I make sure that when you're telling me these, I can tell you where in the guide, hey, this is eligible, this is ineligible, just to make sure that we don't waste your time and that we can ensure that you would receive a successful grant application acceptance So the big thing is we ask that we do have the guides on our Fort Myers CRA site where this presentation will be located. Make sure to look through the eligible and ineligible expenditures, and the reference guide is also important in case you want to do anything with signage. We do have these reference design standards from 2018, and we keep them, and we normally will only accept grants that go with that design standard, especially along the Cleveland Avenue corridor, but also the Dr. MLK corridor and working with downtown smart code. We ask that you reach out, like I said, to us for that site visit. You can call us at 239-321-7100 or email us at fmcra@cityftmyers.com. Now, talking about eligibility or what's eligible, the big things are removal and repair or replacement of deteriorated exterior building materials such as plywood, metal, glass, or stucco, the painting of the building exterior, new or replacement woodwork or architectural details on the exterior, exterior signs. This also includes the removal of old signs and installation of new signs. Awnings. That includes the removal of the old awnings and installation of new ones. Please note that includes canopy systems that are attached to the building. Exterior landscaping, planters, irrigation, and screening. Parking lot improvements, which can include bollard installation, replacement of parking blocks, the remill, repaving, restriping, and seal coating of the parking lot. We do like to make sure to let you know that if you do pursue this, you have to add other improvements to it. We will not accept an application in which you are just looking to improve the surface of your parking lot. The next thing is the lighting of exteriors are eligible, but please note we can only reimburse for fixtures, not installation, as HVAC, electrical, or any utility work is not eligible for reimbursement. Brick or textured pavement of the exterior is eligible, and we do allow to reimburse the professional design services for exterior improvements. The courtyard and outside dining design and development is also included, but please note that does not include outdoor equipment. And the last thing that is eligible is dumpster enclosures. So with that list, like I said, it is in the guide in case you weren't able to catch all of them. And if you have any questions, you of course can talk to staff. So determining eligibility, making sure that your improvements are within those eligible expenditures. The next step is to apply for the grant. Like I said, it would start with a site visit where we go out, take reference photos, talk to you, and the grant application is a packet that requires a fully executed grant application, the link in which I will provide to you after the site visit, a fully executed and notarized copy of the owner affidavit form, photographs of the building and property from all angles as they exist today, and we do ask those pictures are uploaded in PNG or JPEG format. The reason why is if you take them with your iPhone, sometimes it's a weird format that's hard for us to open. Conceptual renderings of the building facade after improvement. This can be through architectural sketchings, graphic renderings made in a graphic design program. We just need something to present to the board to show what is the property going to look like after you do the improvements. One of the most important aspects is also that we require 2 to 3 quotes for each proposed improvement being applied for. We do have a grading rubric, and in there you'll see you only get full points if you give us 3 quotes, 2 at a minimum, and it's just making sure that you're getting comparable quotes, apples to apples, that we can use when we're calculating our grant request. And then we may request additional information based upon the proposed improvements, but we would make sure to talk to you and ask those questions once you submit the application. So as I discussed earlier, we do have a grading rubric. This is something that we're doing new this year. It's to make sure that we help our board prioritize the applications we receive, and it'll be out of 50 points, so each category is 10 points, and the major rubric or criteria will be based on location, type of business, type of improvements, whether you used local contractors with preference giving to MBEs, and that is minority business enterprises, women business enterprises, even veteran business enterprises. We will look at that. And also, if you're a recipient of a past grant, we want to make sure that we prioritize new applications, but we do not discourage those who have received a grant in the past. All of this information is in our guide, but you can also see right here, I used a picture in our presentation. This is what the rubric will look like. And of course, we will work with you once you give us the application in case there's any missing information to give you the best score possible. Now, once you submit a grant to us and it is graded, there's a grant approval process. We like to let you know the way it works is that we use the lowest quotes in which you receive to calculate your grant request. If you're going for a tier 1 grant, that is a reimbursement of 75% of eligible expenditures with a maximum grant of $50,000. And then tier 2 is a 50% reimbursement with eligible expenditures with a maximum grant of $200,000. Now, what will happen is we give that grading skill as well as the backup information to our advisory board. They will then work on prioritizing who should receive full grant requests if we are limited on funding, or just making sure that we can answer any of their questions as they are an appointed board of citizens within the CRA that give recommendations to our CRA Board of Commissioners. If they approve you, the next thing is I do a draft agreement. It's boilerplate information that's sent to you and for you to review before it goes in front of the Board of Commissioners. And it will also dictate what the grant amount is that we are recommending to the Board of Commissioners. And of course, you can discuss with us as we go through the whole process. The next step is then it does go in front of the CRA Board of Commissioners. The Board of Commissioners is our governing board. And once they make either to accept or deny, we would then execute a grant with you upon acceptance, and you can start the improvement work. Now, I know this was a lot of information, and we want to make sure that you understand the process. I do have my contact information here on the slide, as I am the redevelopment manager and the administrator of this program. So please feel free to email me at xcolon, C-O-L-O-N, @cityftmyers.com, or call me at 239-321-7098. You can also scan the QR code and it'll bring us to our incentive page, which has all of the information on our guides, as well as answering any questions you might have. Thank you so much for your time. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I can't wait to see you apply for our program. Goodbye.